AutoCAD tool palettes were one of the first sets of types of palettes in AutoCAD. They came in around AutoCAD 2004. Now, to open up your tool palettes, you can just press Control and 3 on your keyboard at the same time. It'll open them up. Press it again, and it will also close it. Now, tool palettes are pretty cool because you can put anything into them, and you can control how they look, move them around, and you can assign some of their behavior. Now, you can have as many tool palettes as you'd like, each containing different things, and you can put a lot of different commands into them. In this case here, we have a cylindrical helix, 3D spiral, and so on and so forth. Through here on this palette, we have the different constraints. Here we have different annotation blocks, some architectural blocks, mechanical, and so on. If I click on this little button here, I can get to a lot of other items as well. These are all different types of tool palettes. If I click on leaders, I can create a lot of different types of leaders. Now, this is handy because it will help you get to a specific type of leader without having to go through all the settings. So I can create a typical leader with no text. There's my leader. I can do a leader with text, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, this gives a lot of different types of things to me very quickly. That's the point of tool palettes. They're extremely customizable. So how do you do that? Well, there are a couple of different ways to get to that, of course, because this is AutoCAD. You go to the Manage tab, go to the Customization panel, click on Tool Palettes. That'll bring up your customization menu. Also, if I right-click on one of these blank areas here inside a tool palette, any tool palette, I can click on the Customize Palettes button. So I don't have to go through the ribbon to find it if I don't want to. So tool palettes consist of two different things: the specific palettes, which are here on the left-hand column, or groups. Now, to edit any of these groups, you can just right-click on it, say New Group, rename, delete, set it as current. So you can see here it changed, and it brought me right to it. I can remove a group, I can create a new group, I can create subgroups inside a group, all that sort of thing. Tool palettes work the same way. If I right-click over here, I can rename this palette, delete it. I can export the palette. That way I can share it with somebody. I can email it to them, put it on the network, things like that. Or I can import a tool palette that someone else has created. So if I create new palette, I'm just going to call it BCB. And it shows up here in my tool palette, so you can see it's blank. I'm also going to create a group. Just right click, new group, and call it BCB. But it put it right inside this group here. Well, if I left click, hold, and drag, I can move it up and out of there. And this is my new palette. I don't want it in that group. I want it in this group. So once you've created your tool palettes, and again, just like with all things that you customize with AutoCAD, I suggest you leave the default palettes and groups alone and just create your own. Make new palettes, make new palette groups. That way, if anything stops working for some reason, or you make a mistake somewhere, you can always go back and find something that works. I'm going to click close. So right now I can't get to my group. I can't get to my BCB group. So I'm going to right click over here, go to BCB. This is my group. This is my palette. Now to customize your tool palette, you can do that a couple of different ways. One way is to just go into the palette itself, right click on it, and select the customize commands. This will open up the CUI list of commands that are available to you. It's all of the AutoCAD commands that are there. All you'll have to do is search for your command, like line. I'm going to use the AutoCAD line command here. Left click and hold, drag it, and drop it right into the tool palette. And there it is. Let's add a few others. Let's see here, polyline's a good one, and maybe spline. So now I can make a lot of different types of lines and things. So I just close out of that. And when I want to start one of these commands, I just click on it and I'm in the line command. Now, all three of these different commands have a flyout. I can tell because it has that little triangle. If I click on the triangle, that will give me access to several other commands. And you can see I have the polyline and the spline command in here. So I'm going to edit this command because I just want the polyline command. If I select it and right click and go to properties, I'll be able to customize this. Now, this looks a lot like when we created new commands for toolbars and things. Well, you can do that here. This says use flyout. This option is yes. I'm going to say no. So this will give me just the P-line command or the pline command. Click OK. You can see here now it is just polyline. I can do the same thing with spline. Right click on it, go to properties, tell it no flyout. And you may notice something on here that says color, layer, line type, etc. Well, I can assign any of these that I want to it. Click OK. And I'm going to open a file. Let's open up the ice rink example file for this chapter. And in here, I have a couple of different things. If I open up the layer manager, you'll see I have a couple of different layers. Right now I'm set to layer 0, it's color of white. I have a BDG, ice rink, and so on. So if I come up to my spline command in my tool palette, right click, go to properties, and I can go to color, and I'm going to set that to by layer so that it will draw this line at whatever the layer means. And I'm going to also assign the layer. Now, when you open this up, it will have the layers available to you in your current drawing. I'm going to select BDG and click OK. Now when I hit the spline, I draw a spline on the BDG layer. If I go back to my blank file here, if I right click on my spline and properties, I see that that's there. And I start the spline command and it's drawing it on that layer. Well, how can it do that? Well, it's created that layer in my drawing that wasn't there. So keep that in mind. That's something that you can do to help create layers and to make sure this specific type of item that you're creating is on a very specific layer. Now, another way to add commands to your properties palette is to just drag and drop. I have the circle here. I'm going to left click, drag and drop it, and it brings up the circle command. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this hatch pattern. So now whenever I want to draw this hatch pattern, I just select it and put it in the spot that I want. If I want to draw a circle, I'm drawing the circle. And again, I can go into all of these, go into the properties, and I can set up very specific scales, angles, layers, colors, things like that. You can do the same with text. You can also do the same thing with blocks. So customizing a tool palette to draw specific objects or blocks or text on specific layers will help control the way your drawings look. They will program in a sort of consistency that you can have across all of your drawings. So you can make a group of detailed drawings that has all the detail information that you need to make your drawings, specific line types, line styles, dimensions, blocks, text, leaders, things like that, hatch patterns that you need to create that type of drawing. That way you make sure you and your coworkers are drawing that type of drawing the exact same way all the time. It's a very useful tool.